Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on your timing at the moment. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's a great privilege to have everyone on tonight's session. It's actually the first edition of the Pick My Brain session. It's my privilege to have everyone join the call tonight. Greetings from Lagos, Nigeria to everyone on the call this moment. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for believing in us. So this is the first series. This is the first Pick My Brain series. It's actually a webinar, a free webinar series for teachers to come together. We collaborate. We look at the challenges facing the teaching profession and they rub minds together on how we can make a change even while we are in this profession. So the truth is that we all need one another, we all need each other. No one is an island of knowledge. So in this webinar series, we'll be sharing, rubbing minds together, we're sharing those things that has helped us as individuals to keep striving, to keep making things better in the teaching profession. So that's just the brain behind the Pick My Brain webinar series. We grow together. One person or one tree does not make a forest. So together we can create the change that we want in the teaching profession. So it's not enough for us to have knowledge, the knowledge that we have or we've acquired along the line, along the years. If we share the knowledge, we can also make ourselves better, can make the educational system much better place for everyone to be. So that is just one of the other reasons why this webinar series was created or was formed. So welcome once more. Welcome once more. So I would like that we quickly introduce ourselves. Tell us where you're joining us from. Your name, your location, your name, your location, your school, the class you teach, just the subject that you teach. So let's quickly do that in the comment section. Let's introduce ourselves quickly in the comment section. So briefly introduce yourself. Tell us your name.
I'm going to one meeting. Meeting.
Okay, so please use the comment section. Tell us yourself. Introduce yourself. Your name, your location, your school, and the subject you teach. Yes, I can see some people are typing already. Let's keep it coming. Okay, I have James already on the call. So please, Mr. James, tell us your name. Okay, you have your name already, your location. Where are you joining us from? Okay, we have here Queen Elizabeth from Uganda, and she teaches kindergarten. So good to have you on the call tonight, ma'am. So we have Stephen Ogundairo from Oyo State, and then He works with New Breed Educational Center. He teaches chemistry and physics. Good to have you here tonight, sir. We also have Miriam from Uganda, Kampala, and she teaches in a primary school. You're welcome. You're most welcome. Okay, James Ebel is also from Uganda. Good. Wow, we have so many teachers from Uganda on the call tonight. Yes, thank you, Teacher Peter, for that. And we have Caroline Umar from Uganda. She teaches mathematics in lower primary from primary 1 to primary 3. Good to have you here, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. You're welcome. And then we have Swati Matia. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that properly. From Namuwaya Education Center. Good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you on the call tonight. Okay, teaching science. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so let's just keep let's keep the comments coming. Let's keep the introduction coming while we move to the next agenda tonight. So we have two guests tonight. Basically, I am the host, and then I have a special guest in our midst in the person of teacher Peter Okware. So you get to know him better as we move on. So tonight, this is a table of content. We have the meet and greet section, which is ongoing, and then about us, about Top Flighters Academy. Then we move to the main agenda of the day, which is the Pick My Brain section. Then we move on to questions and answer for teacher Peter Okware and I, and then evaluation. Then we reflect on what we've done so far, and then you get to see our social media handles and then other announcements we'll be having for you. So believe me, your time tonight is not going to be a wasted one. You're going to get value for your time. So just fasten your seatbelt as we go on a roller coaster ride tonight on, do I say on, or as a transformed educator or as transformed educators. So who are we? Who are we? About us. Top Flighters Academy is an educational institute aimed at bridging the gap in the educational system, not just in Nigeria, in Africa, and as time goes on, by God's grace, we'll move globally to every part of the world. So our area of specialization is 21st century and blended learning approaches. We deal with digital citizenship, education. We deal with education for sustainable development and social and emotional learning. You're going to agree with me that all of these are needed in the classroom. So if you want to raise a 21st century learner in your classroom, being mindful of the 4 C's. You need 21st century blended learning approaches. We've had so many trainings on these learning approaches. We've had trainings on flipped classroom, game-based learning, project-based learning, which was done earlier this month, and then connection-based learning. So those are the ones we offer at Top Flighters Academy. So we also need to know more on digital citizenship, that is the right use of technology in the classroom, even for our learners too. We cover trainings on that, and also for education, for sustainable development. If you're familiar with the United Nations goals, the 17 global goals, yes, how you can inculcate that in your classroom. And then lastly, the social and emotional learning. This has to do with how to help your learners to manage their emotions, their feelings. So as a human being, as an individual, even as a teacher, we have feelings. So in 21st century age, we don't just want to raise learners who are academically sound, but not very sound when it comes to managing their emotions. So that's what social and emotional learning is all about. Okay. So we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. So if you're just joining us, let's just keep it coming, keep introducing yourself. Okay, let me read the next ones I have before I move to the next session. Okay, we also have Ashila Tusimi. Okay, there we have Dorandi from Abuja. She teaches with a preschool, and then teacher at Sheila Tusimi. Sorry for that. Teaching reading and mathematics in lower classes. And then we have teacher Okelo Jimmy Cotta, currently teaching in Kampala, Uganda. Wow, that's so fantastic. We have so many teachers joining us on the live section from Uganda. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. So let's quickly meet our guest speaker for tonight's session. Meet teacher Peter Okware. Teacher Peter Okware. So a little about him. So who is teacher Peter? Peter Okware is a professional teacher from Uganda with an experience of 10 years teaching children and training teachers. He is the director of Teachers in Need, that is TEEN, Teachers TV Africa, and Rising Star Preparatory Schools. He is a Mandela Washington alumni from the University of Georgia and an alumni enrichment fellow from Georgia State University. Teacher Peter Okware is the 2022 New Vision Uganda winner of Top 40 Under 40 Young Influential Leaders. So with clap ovation, with our clapping, let's drop our clapping emojis. Let's drop emojis. Let's welcome teacher Peter Okware to the session here tonight. So the next voice we'll be hearing is the voice of teacher Peter Okware. Okay, aside what I just read from the introduction, something really moved me to connect with teacher Peter Okware, which you're going to be hearing much of. Okay, so I saw he's the director of Teachers in Need and Teachers TV Africa. Now, it does so much fantastic job. Aside the fact that he's in the classroom, he does trainings for teachers, he does trainings to improve the teaching methodology in the classroom. And even at the moment, there is a program he's planning for teachers to kind of award teachers based on their diligence in the classroom. So this is a teacher kind of motivating or inspiring other teachers to do more. So we need more teachers like teacher Peter Okware. So that's just a few, okay, of what I know about him, but he's going to tell us more about him while we go on the section. So the next voice you're going to hear is that of teacher Peter Okware. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Am I clear?
Yes, please, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you. I'm teacher Peter Okware. I'm humbled to be here. Firstly, I greet all the viewers and the members who have joined the live chat on Telegram. It has been a short notice to most of them, but we are very grateful that they have honored our invitation. And also, I honor you, teacher Funke from Nigeria. Thank you very much for the great work that you're doing. And I believe there is a saying that birds of the same feathers flock together. I think that saying is coming true, or it is coming to pass today. I'm teacher Peter. For now, that's how I would like to introduce myself. You have talked about other things. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, sir. It's a great privilege to have you here tonight. So the theme of tonight's section, the Pick My Brain series, is a monthly one, and this is the first session we're having in this year. So it's going to be a monthly program. So tonight we have the theme is a transformed teacher, a transformed teacher, a transformed educator. So this year's Teachers Day celebration, we had the theme which has to do with the transformation of education begins with teachers. For educational system in the world to change, then teachers also need to change. You need teachers who are transformed in their mind, in their soul, everything that they do. So what does it mean to be a transformed teacher? How can one become a transformed teacher? These are some of the things we'll be discussing here tonight. Okay, so while we move on, I would like to hear Teacher Peter's view on who he thinks a transformed teacher is or should be. Yes, sir.
Okay, now can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Thank you. Firstly, a transformed teacher. Okay, it all starts with this, that in order for us to transform lives, we need to be transformed first as the teachers. So we strongly believe that a team that is Teachers They Need and Teachers TV Africa, that there is no way how any person can transform others if they are not transformed themselves. So that's why we strongly promote or we advocate for enabling all the stakeholders to understand the importance of transforming teachers in a positive way. Yes. So we believe that I can't give out anything that I don't have. I have to first have it before giving it to others. So you can transform others if you're not transformed. So the more you transform yourself, or the more you work upon transformation, it simply means you can also transform others. So the world currently has not yet embraced or appreciated the importance of transforming teachers simply because most people are still stuck in the jam of the outdated ways of maybe teaching and doing things. We believe that teachers should only be in class, teach, talk, mark, and at the end of the day, lesson plan, and call it a day, do the same routine tomorrow, day in, week out, month in, month out, like that. But if we are to change that narrative, it starts with us, the teachers, simply because we strongly know what the next generation needs. But it starts by me transforming myself before transforming others. So we should all be the light at the end of the tunnel in the lives of others. So if you also recall, this year's theme, again, under the UN program, it was about transforming education. But I believe one of the talking points was majorly transforming teachers. That was one of the cutting or the major talking points. And I remember I was privileged to participate. It was on the African continent. They selected me to represent teachers from Uganda. And at least one of the things that we shared was strategies on how we can raise transformed, informed, and motivated teachers. So all the teachers who are on the platform, it is our collective responsibility, instead of complaining, but doing all what it takes to see that we transform ourselves, and also calling upon other stakeholders to come on board to see ways on how they can support that genesis of transformation. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. So another question is, what does it mean? Okay, we have teachers in this age, and time who really think that for them to be transformed, for them to change the narrative, for them to be the big change in the teaching profession, that a lot of work has to be done from the head. Okay, so teachers now, they will believe that if our leaders don't do so much things, then we are also limited in some ways. So, to what extent do you think that is true? Do you really believe that for teachers to be transformed, they will need a bulk of the work of transformation should come from the leaders, let's say the government or the school owners, for instance? Do you believe that is what it's meant to be? Do you believe that you have so much to be done from the heads than the teachers themselves? I hope you got that question. We can hear you, sir. Did you hear that,
Okay,
sir?
thank you.
Okay.
Am I clear?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Sorry? Yes, I do. Am I clear? Thank you. I believe, or I think, let me not use the word believing, but I think, and at the same time, I believe, simply because in most cases, I prefer sharing experiences that I've worked in my life or that I've tried and failed. So I wouldn't like other people to walk through or to make the same mistakes, yet they can learn from a covered template. For transformation to take place, it doesn't start with majorly the leaders, though they also play a very pivotal role. But any transformation or change to happen, it starts with me, with you, a teacher. How? You should look at, because we all have 24 hours and we all have different visions and different purposes in life. So the way how you structure yourself, the way how you use your time, the way how you plan. There are so many people who come to the profession of teaching simply because it's the last resort profession for them. It's not out of interest, it's not out of passion. And along the way, they never gain the passion, neither the interest. So to them, it's all about, let me be there, maybe for 1-2 years, and then do another thing. But if we first sit down as teachers and then rebrand ourselves, like no one can brand you, or no one can rebrand you, or no one can redesign you apart from yourself. So it starts with you as an individual. Now, whenever something starts from bottom up, how it will have a solid foundation. Now, whenever something comes from up, bottom, there is a way how it gets a lot of resistance, simply because with the people whom they might be cascading it to, we might not easily buy in. And the more we don't buy in any policy, any system, it doesn't work out. But as long as we start from the bottom and sorry, and own it, then disseminate it, cascade it, there's a way how it can easily catch fire, or it can easily gain momentum. So the school leaders have a very big role to play in terms of maybe transformation. But I believe the strongest, let me say like 70% has to be the role of we the teachers. It is you to find out where are you weak, how can you improve. Again, it is my responsibility to do enough research to make myself an improved teacher. In most cases today, we are living in a very competitive world whereby a number of stakeholders like the school directors and the school heads are not bothered about the standard of a teacher. For them, what their focus is, members, kindly, if you are coming on, is it okay if you mute your volume? Thank you. Teacher, two ways, CJ, kindly help us unmute. Thank you. So you find out that in most cases, so many school leaders, for them, they are looking for cream. They are purely looking for cream. They are not looking for maybe a teacher. So if you don't take time to invest in yourself, to become a better teacher, to become a better brand. Yes, teaching is a profession, but you as a person, you are a brand. So how do you brand yourself to stand out as a white teacher among maybe colored teachers, maybe there's so many colors? How do you stand out as a unique teacher? So the role of school leaders is 30% in our transformation, but the 70% goes back to what they call individual brilliance and individual responsibility. Thank you.
Wow, that's an awesome one. That's an awesome one. Take time to invest yourself, brand yourself. How do you stand out as a teacher? Thank you so much. So let's quickly come back to your works in Teacher TV Africa. So can you just tell us what inspired you to start this movement, this Teacher TV Africa? When I actually went through your social media handles, I was, I'm greatly impressed by the great works that you do. We need more of people like Teacher Peter in the educational system. So what is that thing that inspired you to start the Teacher TV Africa, the Teachers in Need? Just tell us a little about what you do at Teacher TV Africa and then Teacher in Need. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, teacher. Let me start with Teachers in Need. And also, by the way, I do appreciate all the members who are joining from Uganda and all over Africa. Thank you for honoring our invitation, and we don't take your time for granted. What inspired me to start Teachers in Need in the first place? I wouldn't say that it's an inspiration, but it's a challenge. In most cases, challenges push us to do what we do. So at the end of the day, it's not passion, but it's a challenge. So that challenge ends up becoming passion. I don't know if I'm clear. So I wouldn't say that maybe I had it in mind when I was growing up, but you find yourself in the middle of a situation. You see so many people not acting upon the situation or making the situation better. And then you ask yourself, if I don't do this, who will then do it? We started Teachers in Need with an objective of saying, or with an objective of improving the general welfare of teachers, and also raising competent and complete teachers, and those that at the same time informed, transformed, and inspired and motivated teachers. Why? Because the nation simply thinks that our role as teachers is to teach, but they don't know that we hold the key. And if we don't give the right key, today so many of us have given kids or the learners to teach the wrong keys. And we have turned the education that has to be success, not to be confusion. So the kids whom we handle the baton or the keys to, when they try to open their locks, they can't open simply because you told the child, study very hard, you're going to get a good job, you're going to live a good life. The child spends sleepless nights in class, reading and doing everything, sacrificing all their leisure time. And at the end of the day, they are frustrated. All their hopes are shattered on the walls of disappointment because they go into the real world and with all their good marks and they don't see success coming. So that was one of the reasons why we started up Teachers in Need, to see ways on how we can support teachers to give the right information at the right time. Then the other thing is, if you look at our job or our duty as teachers all over the world, we are not highly paid. And neither do we get a lot of amenities or remunerations or so many benefits like other professions. And it's simply because I doubt whether people who are drafting the teaching welfare policies worldwide, among them were any teachers. If they were there, I think they hated the teaching profession with extreme passion. I just don't know why, because at the end of the day, we find out that people have failed to consider the time that teachers spend at school in order, okay, like when it comes to rewarding teachers, depending on the time that we spend at school. I read a report here from Uganda, and by that time it was from the Ministry of Education, under the department that was called, by then it was called TET, that 85% teachers retire to poverty. But they don't retire to poverty simply because they want, neither does the government want them to retire to poverty, but because of the generational systems and the generational chains that so many teachers have not yet taken time to observe and take strategies on how they can come up out of that maybe ditch. You find out that at the end of the day, we live a laughable life in our evening hours. So the reason why I started up Teachers in Need is simply to show teachers that we are not needy, but we are in need of opportunities, we are in need of networks, we are in need of solutions, we are in need of maybe appreciation. Yes, the world really appreciates teachers. So that's the reason why we started Teachers in Need, and at least it has lived or it has served its purpose in a way that we can't also comprehend, simply because in the shortest years that we have been in existence, a lot has been done. Then the reason why we started up Teachers TV Africa, initially we wanted to start up a TV program. And that TV program, we wanted it at least to see ways on how we can transform the teaching profession, how we can also support parents to understand the importance of teachers, to understand what they should ask for from teachers and schools. Because if you look at it today in the education sector, parents have become the drivers. They are the ones who are driving the nations. They determine and they decide, I want my child to get this, I want my child to be like this, and most of them have this belief that if I pay school fees, that's it. So we wanted to start up a program on television, and the main objective was simply to inform and transform lives. But when we approached a number of TV stations, we had a good budget, but most of them turned our offer down simply because they said, no, these are commercial televisions. We want a lot of money. And the money that they wanted us to give them roughly, they wanted us to be paying them roughly 10,000 US dollars per month. That is 36 million Ugandan shillings. Just having 4 programs in the month, something which was unrealistic. So we went to a number of them, and they totally didn't take us serious. So one of the television that took us serious, we did some pilot programs with them. Unfortunately, the entire cabinet that we worked with was reshuffled. So the new cabinet or the new management board was very green about what we had planned with the old management. So with that, we said, and with the team that I work with, if there is no door, we should create a door. And by the grace of God, and by God's vision and intervention, that's how we managed to come up with Teachers TV Africa, with an objective of seeing ways on how we can transform the lives of teachers, how we can promote quality education, and how we can promote what they call healthy competition, not unhealthy competition, that is currently ravaging so many schools and education all over Africa. If you compare our education in Africa with the one maybe in the Western world, it's totally different. Ours has totally gone astray. So that's the purpose why we started up, as you can see on here. That's the purpose why we started Teachers TV Africa, to see ways on how we can inform and transform lives. And we have done that. We are very grateful. Using very mega resources, we have been able to do a lot of things. Thank you.
Wow, this is a whole lot of work you're doing. I must confess, teacher Peter, fantastic work. Great job, sir. Okay, one more question before I allow the audience to ask their own question. Now, how were you able to combine your classroom teaching, being the director of Teacher TV Africa, and also being the director of the preparatory school that you're doing? You've made me to understand within this short period I've been following you that as a teacher, you can be a change maker in your classroom and also be a problem solver in your community. You also told us that if you encountered a challenge where you needed to go on the TV and then you were billed with such high amount of money, but since there was no way there, you said if there is no door, we should create a door. So that means you just told us a little about what you encounter. Aside just that, what other things did you encounter? How were you able to create a balance? Okay, working as a teacher and also being a change agent to the other teachers in your community. Yes, sir.
Okay, I think that's a broad one, but I don't know whether I've understood it well. Is it fine? Is it okay if you narrow it down for me to get it well?
Okay, so what I meant is you are a teacher. We know that the teaching work is an enormous work already. It's a lot on our hands. And now you have Teacher TV Africa. I have teachers in need. And then you have your preparatory school. So So how are you able to manage all of these as one? Even aside that, we see you on social media, you create a lot of things. Because in this age and time, when I tell teachers to go online, to not just to stay in the class, sometimes we end up like just being a local champion. We are meant to go out there and be the change agent everywhere we go. Teachers are always telling me that the classroom work is enough for them. Most teachers don't want to put in an extra work. Most teachers are comfortable in their comfort zone. So like what you've done now, you're out of your comfort zone, even though you encounter some challenges. So how are you able to put all of them together? Being a teacher, trainer, even on social media, you are there, you're almost everywhere. How are you able to manage all of this that you're not choke? You're just still good at what you're doing. Do you get that, sir?
Thank you. Now at least I understand you well. I think it all starts with no. Are you now getting me? Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Thank you. I think it all starts with firstly, each person in life comes with a vision from God. When you come, a person should not lie you that we come with while knowing our visions. We don't know them. But along the way, God will always present and refine, rebrand, or make it clear for you. So the earlier, the better. The reason why at times we grapple with so many things is simply because we might not be knowing our visions. So the earlier, the better. Now, I will credit, or I will say that whatever I'm doing right now, I know that I'm not doing it majorly maybe for the sake of I was born, and the reason why I'm on earth, there's a purpose that God wants me to accomplish. So balancing all those things, we all have 24 hours. What matters most is how we structure 24 hours. There are so many people who use the 24 hours to better themselves, but there are 24 hours to destroy themselves. How do we destroy ourselves? By not investing in learning. The more we don't invest in learning, is the more we destroy ourselves, because whatever you might have learned at school, there is a stage in life where it will be outdated. So if we don't keep on, like, it's like a computer. A computer has to be updated, upgraded all the time. So that's the same thing with a human brain. It has to be upgraded, updated, and supported all the time. So I've learned how to structure my life in that way. I always take what they call personal reflections to say exactly how am I, and how am I changing my own life, and how are the changes changing other people. In most cases, I look at myself as a privileged person. I've been highly privileged because I've done so many mistakes at times that would have my life, but by the grace of God, I'm still living. So I don't look at myself as a person who has a lot to attain as an individual, but I always ask myself, on my last day on earth, what will the world say about me in terms of maybe touching lives, in terms of making my continent better, and in terms of also transforming other people's lives, and in terms of also seeing ways on how we can make Africa a solution stock continent than a laughing stock continent. So with that in my mind, I rarely have maybe a lot of personal time whereby I would say, after teaching or after doing this, I'm going to maybe watch a lot of movies. No, maybe I'm going to have a lot of fun, though at times I also have my personal time, but I rarely have a lot of free time. That is one of the challenges that comes with you trying to see ways on how you can make other people better. So one of the things, again, when you're doing that, other people's challenges become your responsibility. You might not be able to solve each person's challenge, but at least you can always be able to give solutions, what they call common solutions, that those ones who have an open ear can listen attentively and then implement. But I can't say that I always teach in class from Monday to Friday. No. At times I'm in class. At times I'm planning. At times I'm training. At times I'm learning. And at times I take personal reflections. I can just decide and say, today, I'm not doing this. Let me just relax and then think about this. How are we going to do this? And in most cases, I've also learned one thing, why so many teachers might not be able, or are not seeing themselves maybe doing what Teacher Peter might be doing. Whenever most people see me, they think that maybe we are operating on a lot of funds. I've had so many inquiries, over even 1,000 people asking me, Peter, who are your donors? Who are your funders? How do you manage to sustain this? I've seen so many people starting up what we're doing, and within months it has collapsed simply because they start with expectations of getting money because they think Teacher Peter is getting a lot of money, maybe from whites, from other people, or I don't know. So you have to have a very clear vision about what you want. So if you have it, it goes beyond money. You're sacrificing your life per se, but at least sacrificing your time, sharing whatever you know, and at the end of the day, trying to understand people, not just understanding people from the point of view what you read in the newspapers, what they tell you, but at least taking time to interact with people. If there is a time that I go to know teachers, I go to know teachers during the trainings. We have trained over 10,000, yes, 10,600 teachers plus all over the country. Physical training, not online. But at least those opportunities have enabled me to mingle and interact and get to understand teachers deeply. And currently, at least if there is an area where I'm well versed, that is purely in understanding the mindset of teachers. Then during the lockdown, I used to receive not less than 30 WhatsApp messages or calls from teachers. At times, these are teachers who are starving, they didn't have what to eat, but I couldn't feed all of them because I didn't have that capacity. But at times, we could share. I could just share with them strategies on how to survive. And I can tell you one thing, a number of teachers, at least during the lockdown, their lives started changing. Those ones whom I could support financially, I did my small part. But those ones whom I couldn't, I also guided them, and there was a very big impact in their lives. So what inspires me to do all this without ceasing is simply because I would like my life and other teachers' lives to be the light at the end of the tunnel. So if we all decide to be the light at the end of the tunnel, people will stop laughing or looking at us as people who are in a profession that is on a lost island, and they will start valuing us. And that's the reason, by the way, why I personally I prefer being called Teacher Peter. It's not something that is highly honored or respected to be called a teacher all over the world. But I would like teachers and other people to know that our profession is also a profession. Look at the passport. If you're applying for a passport, you'll always find doctor, professor, but you'll never find teacher. Why? At least let them give us that honor. So I would like to be the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why at least I devote my time to teaching in the classroom, teaching online, teaching also parents, and also teaching myself, because I'm also not perfect, because I have to learn from you people, as you also learn from me, as you also learn from others. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much, Teacher Peter. That's a wonderful one. Okay, you reminded me of the question I wanted to ask on what made you, as in, because I've been in the teaching profession for like 13 years, and it's rare for you to see teachers address themselves by that title, teacher, blah, blah, blah. So the first time I saw that was during the pandemic, when everybody had to go online. So I joined this international body of English language teachers. Okay, I joined this international board of English language teachers, and then I noticed that they were actually they were calling themselves by name, Teacher Peter, Teacher Michael. Like, wow, that's fantastic. So teachers can actually come out and then address themselves that way. So that was how I joined them. So when I met you online and then I saw that you're addressing yourself as Teacher Peter, I was like, wow, this is a brother. This is someone I would really like to connect with. So what can you say to teachers? Because I notice that teachers, we don't want to be addressed that way. We don't want to be seen as teachers. We don't want people to know that we are teachers. Because, like you said, there's a generational mindset about teachers that are poor people, that people that should not really, they don't really account to something much in life. But we are trying to change the narrative. And as you mentioned also, that when you go to the embassy, you see titles, Dr. D's, Professor D's, that teachers too should be the teacher title should also be there. So what can you quickly say to teachers in this regard?
Wow. I think to all the teachers all over the world, in every generation, there must be people who are willing to take up the hardest responsibilities and challenges. So this is our generation. And if we don't take up the hardest challenges, it simply means that we are going to leave those challenges covered our heads in the sand. Why? Because we have also appreciated or acknowledged or allowed people to topple us. So what should we do right? It starts with self-belief. Self-belief, whereby me as a teacher, I should try very hard to see that I stand out as a special teacher. By investing in myself, I'll tell you one thing. If there is one thing that I've done, I've spent a lot of sleepless nights. But those sleepless nights, I don't spend them maybe doing things that I would be loving doing, but I spend them at times, or I used to spend them, and I still spend them while seeing ways on how I can improve myself on a daily basis, simply because I don't want people to look at me as a mere teacher. I want people to look at me as a real teacher, not a special teacher, but a real teacher. So with that, it is each person's responsibility to also acknowledge who is fighting for you. I'll tell you one thing, that you find so many teachers. We share so many videos that are very educative and that are promoting teachers, but at times teachers don't give them attention, simply because to them it is nothing. But when a person shares a video whereby they are complaining about the status of teachers, teachers not being paid, teachers not being respected, teachers blah, 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 there you find everyone sharing that video. Why? Because we think that other people will fight our battle. No, no one will fight for you. I used to think that maybe when we think of the whites, like going abroad or doing so many things, maybe the whites can make our situation better. But the truth is, if you get a chance, I'm privileged that at least I've met so many people, successful people of all races. But I've learned one thing, that there is no person who is going to change your profession or your sector apart from you who is in it, because you understand it better, you understand the bitterness in it, and you understand all, let me say, the challenges that are that center, that profession. So if we don't rise up to the occasion, it simply means that generation to generation, we will fear calling ourselves teachers. And we will always like to be addressed as Miss, Master something and so, but not teacher. I've in so many areas where we have been, at the end of the day, I've seen so many people calling themselves also teachers, and the person says, from today onwards, I'm going to be called teacher so and so. Now, this is not blowing my own trumpet. I remember under the Mandela Ashington Fellowship that was in 2021 at Georgia, at the University of Georgia. By the members, there's a difference between University of Georgia and Georgia State University. Those are different universities in the United States. So, and I was privileged at least to be in 2 universities, but in different years. So at the University of Georgia, I remember when they are telling people to introduce themselves, people introduce themselves as lawyers, people introduce themselves, we're in a cohort, 25 people, pilots, bankers, doctors. Now, when teachers, we were few teachers. I think we're only 2 people who introduced here. We're only 2 teachers. But I believe 2 or 3 teachers, but others even fear to introduce themselves as teachers. Until I stood up and said, I'm Teacher Peter. And they asked me, how would you like to be called? I told them, don't call me Peter, call me Teacher Peter. And by the grace of God, at the end of the day, when we were doing what they call the Ignite talk or the presentation, you can't believe it, a mere teacher won the doctors, won the lawyers, and all other professions. Why? It simply means that we are all equal, as long as we believe that we are equal. But as long as we teach other people's children and tell them to become doctors, to become lawyers, to become engineers, and we never encourage them to become teachers, no one will love our profession. So be the change you need. Assume you are being paid salary. How do you use that money to also brand yourself? How do you use part of your salary to put a good image, or to at least represent yourself in the way that is worthwhile, or that people will look at and say, yes, this is a teacher. I remember one time going to one of the ministries, that is the Ministry of Health in Uganda. And I told them I wanted to meet the commissioner in a certain department. When I told the commissioner I was a teacher, they said, no, we don't have time. But I insisted until when they gave me an appointment. When I reached there and I made a presentation, they told me, wait a minute, you are not a teacher. I told them, why are you saying I'm not a teacher? They said, no, teachers don't reason like that. We know teachers as people of chalk. People talk about scheme and all that. How can a teacher have all this knowledge, practical knowledge? And it pained me, because that's the way how other professions define us. So if other professions are defining us in that way, and we don't wake up or we don't rise up to define ourselves in the right way, it simply means that no one will prefer being called a teacher. So it starts with you, it starts with me, to see ways on how we can call ourselves teachers. So I think we should be the change we need. Thank you.
Wow, be the change you need. We need to wake up to define ourselves the right ways. Wow, wow. This is an inspiring time. These are inspiring words from Teacher Peter. Thank you so much. Thank you for making the teaching profession proud. Thank you. I don't know what else to say, but it's a very fantastic one. You're doing a very great job. Thank you. We are so proud to have you as one of us. So I'm very sure other teachers listening tonight are inspired by your words. That's a great one. I would like to go further, but I think that will be all for tonight. Okay. So if you'd like to know more about what Teacher Peter does, you can follow him on the social media and okay, as Teacher Peter Okware, and then Teachers TV Africa. Okay. So we want to open the question and answers now. So do you have any question regarding what Teacher Peter has said so far? Just use the comment section. Raise your hand in the comment section, then I'll allow you. Then you can unmute yourself. You can either unmute yourself by raising your hand, or you drop your question in the comment box, please. Okay. Do you have any question? Just raise your hand using the comment section. There we can take your question. Use the comment section or you just raise your hand, then you mute yourself to speak. Another thing I've discovered about teachers is that in program like this, events like this, I don't know, teachers are kind of always shy to like unmute their mics to talk. I don't know. And then I'm like, when it comes to public speaking, teachers should be number one when it comes to public speaking, but we are not there yet. I've attended so many conferences where we have, as in, they have to like kind of compel teachers to say something just to contribute, but we don't do that. But these are normal things we do in the classroom. But when it comes to the public space, we don't really have much teacher trying to share their mind. Okay, someone is raising his hand. This is teacher Okelo. So I won't be saying Mr. Mrs. I'll be saying teacher. So teacher Okelo, please you can unmute yourself and just let's hear you. Teacher Okelo, can you hear me? Please, we are waiting. You can speak now. Okay. So no
Hmm.
other question.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, teacher.
Yes,
Um,
I was saying thank you. I wanted just to ask Teacher Peter, as he knows very well how the teachers are being handled in Uganda, how best is the organization that he has formed? How best can it help us? For us who are in private schools, we are mishandled. Even the salaries are low. At times, even they just chase you anyhow without even prior warning. And then we are also teaching under pressure. So I wanted him to help us. How best can he also talk on our behalf as teachers on private schools? Thank you.
all right, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, teacher Peter, did you hear that? I think he's no longer on this call. Okay, he's back. Teacher Jimmy, can you come? Did you get his question, Teacher Peter? I think you went off probably network. Should you repeat the question?
Yeah, I
Okay,
was saying, hello,
please go
are
on,
you getting
sir.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I was saying that Peter, since for him he knows how best the education system is in Uganda, and as per now I work in Uganda in private schools. Now we have some problems in some private schools. For example, the salaries are low, and that little salary that we have maybe agreed upon, they don't even pay in time. Secondly, we teach under pressure because the owner of the schools need the result immediately. That one can even lead to immediate, let's say, sacking out of from the school. The teachers are chased anyhow. Now, how best can he really help us who are in private schools to handle that issue?
Okay, sir. Over to you, Teacher Peter. Please unmute your mic, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Teacher Okelo. I think we are on the same soil. We are in Uganda. I would like to take this opportunity firstly to thank all teachers watching from Uganda, watching from Nigeria, watching from South Africa, watching from all over the world. Even I've seen a colleague watching from Canada. Yes. So we are very grateful. And in a special way, I would also like to appreciate teacher Sharon Amuge. She's my workmate at Teachers Development Center and Teachers in Need, and she's my boss. Yes. So to start with, like the reason why we started up Teachers in Need was purely to act as an advocacy. One of the roles was to act as an advocacy for teachers, and we have done that. In our years of existence, Teacher Okelo, we have supported teachers to earn now without adding 2022, but in 2018, 2019, we supported teachers to earn an average of over 3.5 billion Ugandan shillings. That is roughly like 500, I don't know, 500 to 900 US dollars in those 2 years as an average, as their salaries for all. If I'm looking at the 500 plus teachers whom we connected to schools. So what we do for us under Teachers in Need, we have what we call member teachers. And with the member teachers, we go ahead or we take time to make a follow-up in their respective schools to find out whether the schools are paying or fulfilling their obligation. But in most cases, we can't intervene in a teacher's situation if the teacher is not our member teacher. We can't intervene in a teacher's situation if a teacher is not registered with us. And neither is our registration contradicting with the registration maybe with UNATU, with the other bodies like FENU. No. Ours is purely seeing ways on how we can improve on our general welfare as teachers. So that one we do it. And then, in most cases, at the beginning of each year, this year inclusive, we always organize leadership sessions whereby we call upon school leaders to take them through various strategies on how they can sustain and manage their teachers well. So you find that a number of them start up schools purely because schools are their business. So at times they have to be put right along the way. So with that, I would encourage you to just take time to find out about Teachers in Need, about what we do. At the end of the show, of the program, I'll share our contacts. Then you can also keep following us or purely keep following us on the social media handles or sending us a message to see ways on how we can work upon or how we can work together. Because at the end of the day, you can't work with all teachers if you don't have any attachment with them. Then the second thing, teaching under pressure. If you watch, or if you take time to observe all our videos on Teachers TV Africa, that is one thing that we are telling the world, that teachers should not be used as machines. If you look at it, the day we monetize education, it simply means that teachers and the learners became more of tools. Why? You, the teachers, you have to work very hard to see that the learners pass so that the school gets a bigger enrollment. But at the end of the day, that is done at the expense of the mental health of a teacher, the physical health, and the financial situation at times doesn't connotate with the input. So working under pressure, that is something that can't be solved in one day, but it can be solved if we, the teachers, assume if we have like 10,000 teachers joining Teachers in Need, and then we have a common voice about what we want to achieve, you'll see that things will change. But as long as we are still teaching for UNEP, that is PLE, USCE, and UCE, and other final exams of summative assessment, it simply means that you are going to continue working under pressure. Then finally on that, you find that we teachers, we don't know our value. You are employed and they give you a class and they will tell you want A, B, C, D. But since you come with a lot of disparity, you don't take time to ask them, you need A, B, C, D, but I also need A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order for me to give you this A, B, C, D, what, depending on what they want from you. So in most cases, after you doing an interview and you're given a job, that's it. For me, I remember in 2018, I got an opportunity of a very good job teaching. And they wanted me to teach in a certain school and they are paying me a lot of money. But I turned down the offer. I told them one thing, that what I can do for you, I can just come maybe once a month, twice a month, but I can't be your teacher permanently, regardless of what you're giving me. Why? It's because I know my value, not because I can't teach, not because I don't want to be in that school, but I didn't want all the knowledge that I have to be rooted in only one school. So in most cases, we might not all do that, but if you go to a school, you should be knowing your value. If you're just a mere teacher, at the end of the day, they are going to exploit you. But if you are a teacher who has invested in yourself, who has taken time to understand what you need and what you can offer, you will easily place the right demand. So that's one, it is our collective responsibility to work very hard to see that we work upon the issue of pressure and the low salaries. Finally, on the low salaries, we can also improve that situation. Yeah, we can improve that situation, or we can better it if we do one thing. If we keep improving ourselves, and if we learn how to work as a team worldwide or in the country. Also learning how to manage our resources well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Teacher, I believe that question has been answered. Yeah, we don't to the question. Okay, I'm seeing some people here in the comment section. Okay, let me start. It says, I think teachers should have open mind. Let's work with private sector, but don't lose ourselves in it. Whatever my boss does, teachers make the next step. Yeah, that's true. So, but how will he or she know what I'm doing? Elizabeth, I don't know if you can just shed more light on that.
Always try to have order in it.
Okay, if I'm to contribute to what
a moment. Kindly, teacher Okelo first mute. Please, teacher Okelo first mute so that we can get.
So if I want to understand that question, you meant that if you're doing something, if your boss is doing something, okay, is actually pushing you to the next step. That is true. That sometimes, okay, I've once been in that situation where I got this pressure, where I got so much load on myself, okay, from the school I was working. So getting so much load from there is actually at that point it was helping me to build capacity. And at some point, I saw it as a lot of work has been used. But another thing I had to do was to change my perspective. because I had to have a different mindset to what I was doing. Because, like you said, sometimes we take up work or jobs to do, but we do not really ask clearly what are the expectations for me at the job. So once we now collect that job, we now start seeing as it seems that they are using you the wrong way. But in the initial stage, you were told what to do, but we do not ask questions to truly understand the job we are taking in at that particular moment or at that particular organization. So okay, I would like us to stop here, but teacher Okelo is still raising his hand. Quickly, sir, before we take feedback from other people. All right, teacher Okelo. You can speak, teacher Okelo.
Yes, I'm getting you.
Okay, I saw you raising your hand. So teacher Peter has said so much of it. Teachers need to keep adding values to themselves. I remembered sometimes ago I worked in a particular place. I earned this particular salary for like 4 good years. No change, nothing was added to it. But I didn't get discouraged. I kept increasing my value. I kept attending conferences. I kept attending teacher trainings. But by the time I was done equipping myself, I was able to tell them, please, I'm done here, I need to go. And by the time I got another job, they're ready to pay me like times four of what I was collecting at that former place. So if teachers, if you want to have an increase, if you want to have an increase in your salary, if you want you want school owner to see you as someone to be valuable, you need to add value to yourself. Like Sister Pisa said, how much time do you invest in yourself? Is it the same knowledge that you've learned 5 years ago? Are you teaching the same way you taught 5 years ago? Information in your class and your passing to your pupils, are they still the same as are you teaching the way you taught your children 5 years ago? Is there anything new you are doing as a teacher? So if you want a new salary, then you should be ready to do something new in the class. We are in the 21st century. If you don't update yourself, like he said, you don't upgrade, you update yourself, you will still remain at that particular point. So if teachers want to earn more salary, if you want to feel valued and respected, then add value to yourself. Spend much time investing in yourself. So that will be all for now. So let me share my screen on the other announcement. Okay, let me just stop sharing.